Good morning, punters. Welcome to the Punta bookmaking Perth preview for Super Saturday, the first Super Saturday Big 10 race card with 6 feature races and a very early beginning, I believe. 11 o'clock in the morning, goodness me. Ascot bookmaking has changed names. We are now Punta, as you may see in front of you. We've got all sorts of special offers and betting products to choose from. Come and see us and have a chat. On course, and we're soon to be on the web via PTT to start with, to let you know what we can do and hopefully offer up some alternatives for your punting out there on Perth racing only at this stage. Let's get into the preview. We're going to preview the main 3 races this morning first, 7, 8 and 9 being the Guineas, the Winterbottom and the Railway, and then tomorrow we'll preview the rest of the meeting. So we'll start with race 7, the Guineas, with Grinner on my right to begin. Matt?
Ron's call.
Ron's call. Very impressive last start.
It was impressive, and the other 2 weren't that well suited. I don't think the rain helped them. King Saul got a long way back. Shining Knight got well back on the fence. But I've watched this race at least 20 times. Trying to find a way that King Saul, at least 20 times, trying to find a way that King Saul and Shining Knight could be catching Ron's call, and I couldn't figure out a way they could do it. I know they made a lot of ground in that race. I know they weren't suited in that race, but they weren't making any ground on Ron's call. They went past all the others in the race.
People will say Ron's call got all the favours, never left the rail, da-da-da-da.
He did, but he didn't get 4 lengths worth of favours.
Yes.
I don't think.
Yeah, very impressive. I agree. Did you have much pace in this race, Matt? Being the 3-year-olds over a mile, let me just say, early 3-year-olds over a mile, you found out last week what can happen.
Yeah.
With 8 till late getting up. There's a lot of horses that race over 12 up to 14 all season, and suddenly the mile's a different kettle of fish.
Get the mile, yeah.
And the horses that are bred to get over trips tend to come out of the woodwork in those races. So there's always a chance of a surprise. I'm not leading into anything here, I'm just stating
I reckon Red Hot Sacks may even land in front here. Has been very unlucky. It was a big run last week again.
Keeps showing up, doesn't it?
Yeah, don't really like her backing up though, but huge run. And the other one that I thought
Single
might go
Spice?
forward, yeah, Single Spice.
Is that a 51 shot if it leads?
Probably not. I'm not sure if it's going to get the mile.
The 2 starts that came from last over well back in the third of the 14 and got beaten on a length. Last start it's not really bad in the last 100.
It did.
If it gets a mile and got an easy lead, it shouldn't be a 51 shot, I wouldn't think.
Maybe not. But I can't see them beating Ron's call, provided he gets a good run and he settles okay and he doesn't get too fizzed up, which I think that he can get fizzed up. Not that we look at him, but I've been told that he sometimes.
Yeah, he's been very impressive. On his last 2 runs he wins, in my opinion, without a doubt. There's no concern in getting a mile based on how he's been racing. The day he wasn't that impressive is the day the Carberry rode him, and I watched it again last night. I thought that day, to me, if he sat 1 by 1 wasn't impressive. But he was very keen that day, and whether the Carberry sort of fired him up out of the gate, I don't know. But the horse seems to relax a lot better for Nucky, and has been extremely impressive for the 3 times that Nux has ridden him. So I've got him clearly on top. I've got a couple of other horses in the race that may be able to figure at odds. One being First Flight. Excellent run last start in a lot weaker field, I know.
It's a very short price you got there. I couldn't have this maiden in the Guineas at all. I know it was a terrible ride last start, terribly run race, ran on well.
Bunbury run, just watched the Bunbury run as well.
I did watch the Bunbury run.
Wide, no cover, 3 and 4 deep, kept coming, best sectional. True Gold came out in front.
This is the Guineas. We've got Ron's Call, King Saul, Shining Knight. These are outstanding animals. This has no hope.
But it's the mile, remember? Some horses don't get the mile.
This has no hope.
Sneaky chance punters for me.
Okay.
Alright. And also, England Lutz had no luck last week and would have figured, in my opinion, in the first 3.
Would have been right amongst them, I agree with that.
If it got through.
And has brained them at the mile before. So that's more of a chance than the other one you mentioned, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, we're not listening to Matt's opinion, we're listening to my opinion this morning. So, keep those in mind. King Saul worked brilliantly against ABNS the other day. And
You sure it was King Saul?
Or we do now, after we backed ABNS.
You know what, I think they had the labelling on the bottom of the screen on course, back to front.
That's our excuse anyway. Blinkers on may improve. Craig Williams. You can't do any better. Did Donga get offered the ride and chose Red Hot Sacks, or was Craig Williams always going to ride it?
I don't know.
I'd like to know
I'll
that.
ask Marty and I'll get back to you.
All right. But the main three, look, the market just says it's a race in 3. I don't particularly think it's a race in 3. But I think Ron's Call should be clearly ahead the other 2, if you know what I'm saying. But it's a good race. I'm looking forward to watching it, man.
Me too. I'm looking forward to winning on it, hopefully.
Don't be getting too excited after last week's results. Race 8, the Railway Stakes, Group 1, $1 million race. The big surprise to me is seeing Waratah Secret in a handicap over a mile at the expense of it being in the winner bottom at Wait for Age.
Yeah, it's a big call, but I think Harrow was quoted as saying this week he's got to try the mile sometime, so why not give it a whirl? Yeah.
And look, I give the horse a chance. I think it's been a big overcorrection in the market. $16. He started favourite almost every start in his career.
He's only not worn blinkers once, and that was the day he led, ran over 1400, and he fell in over the Corporation. Okay. Looked a bit disappointing that day, and that was early on in his career. I think he went for a spell after that. But no blinkers, 1 start, 1 win.
Yeah, okay. And look, he won over 14 last year in that race after the Carnival, didn't he?
The Scahill, and he killed him.
He did win very well, yeah, and ran good time. Look, if he settles off a good pace here, and the good pace being set up by West River Kevidon with Rocky Range and Mega Steel going forward, if he settles in the first 5, there's no reason he can't win this race.
Yep, I agree.
And
even 16's too long now. He was 21 before he drew the good barrier, but 16's a good price as well.
Yeah, so he's a forgotten horse, and I think you can forgive him.
If he'd won last start, and I know it was an average sort of run, but it was that rainy day again. If he'd won last start, what price would he be here?
He'd be in the first 3 in betting for sure.
And he's only got beat a couple. 2.8 to Ranger, who jumped out of his skin that day. And
Ranger was suited that day with a good pace, because Ranger has got a very good sprint and sort of covered the field pretty quick. And Ranger probably deserves to be favourite. Whether it deserves to be in the 3s, I don't know, but it has to be a chance. But as we found out before, this horse has some tricks. He's better off ridden back in the field, and if he's ridden too close, he won't have the same thing. So he needs to be ridden from midfield or worse, I think.
Pike was very wary of his tricks last start. He kept the whip in the left. He kept driving him past. He didn't let him switch off. He didn't let him lay in. He wanted to lay in. And I noticed the last bit he really put in, he didn't switch off, which he's done at his last 2. So I think Pike's figured out how to keep him going, this horse. He definitely should be the favourite on that last run. That was unbelievable. Yeah, and
the horse is flying. What about decent status, ABNS, who were brilliant the other morning?
Yeah.
And
he
remarkable.
Smashed King Saul, didn't he?
He did smash King Saul in reverse.
Yeah. I've watched all of her runs. I think she's at the end of her campaign. I think she's had 5 or 6 runs this time in. 2 starts ago was a shocking run at Moonee Valley. Last start was okay.
That was a close quote, though.
Yeah, but she just never put in at all. Last start I thought was an average run. It's travelled, it's had problems. I can't have it here. Sorry.
Okay, I think it's the best performed horse in the race, and I'll give it a chance. However, it's had a setback. It didn't work that well the other day, in my opinion. But I'm not very good at watching horses work.
It didn't look that good.
I'm happy to forgive it if it's ridden cold at a good pace. In the cost play, it was sort of driven forward. I don't think that's suited the horse. I'm prepared to forgive it, and I'll give it some sort of chance. Maybe I'm just clutching at straws now because I've already backed it. I don't know, but I do give it a chance. He's remarkable, drawn very, very well. It's a big call to come from New Zealand to Melbourne, then come from Melbourne to Perth.
It's a chance, but I think we'll be laying it. Its form's not that strong. By
Pentyre out as a bill mare, you'd think better suited over more than a mile on breeding, but has had 3 starts at the mile for 2 wins. But
Karen McAvoy drawn 1.
Drawn 1.
You've got to give it respect.
And well weighted. but I've got it behind the Avianis, but again I could be wrong. Spacecraft, owned by our good friends, was owned by Cape Horns, now trained by David Hayes. Any hope?
None whatsoever. 2 runs, last 2 runs were terrible, I thought.
Not racing well,
No.
and don't give it a hope. West River Capel? King Capel.
King Capel, any chance here?
No.
Okay, move on.
First up, a mile. It beat decent horses in Kalgoorlie, but it was ridden very, very well by stake on those occasions. Drawn by first up a mile with very, very good pace. You'd think. I can't have
The
it.
mile's not going to suit it. First up, trial was okay.
West River Capel, can it go the next step?
You know what? I watched the replays and I didn't think I'd be liking it, and I don't mind it.
Okay.
He's a big, strong horse, and he'll be bowling along at the end. He wasn't weak on the line last start. The other horse was grabbing him, but he wasn't stopping, I don't think, and could be a Cinderella story.
Could be a Cinderella story.
Could be a Cinderella story.
Could be another West River story, because West River Charlie won a big race in the feature a few years ago.
Yeah, I don't think I'll have him quite as long as you.
I don't like it at all.
In the
West River
20s, I
Capel,
don't think we can.
And I think he'll get pressure here from Mega Steel and Rocky Range, and I think that will find him out, especially backing up after that hard run last week. Hard run in that he went hard. I'm not. I'll be laying him.
The other one I like a bit is Lucky Grey. The barrier is a big blow. If you've drawn a barrier, I'd like this a lot more.
There you go. I expected him to start shorter than the 6.5. They're beating he's into 5.5 now, and I think he'll keep firming. I think with the early pace in the race, Donald should be able to get across and find cover. And if he finds cover, he's not a $6 shot on his form. Having said that, I've got a slightly longer price, but very, very hard to beat. Hasn't done a thing wrong, and been winning very well. Has to be right up there.
Now we've missed Playing God. Any hope?
Look, its first up run over here was good. Some of the runs over there were good. Its last 2 weren't that good. And I'd just be having to watch it, I think, Matt.
I think it's a bit of a tack on as well. I think he's run his big races. He's probably already hit his peak and he's on the way down. Now, provided I got the horses the right way round,
Yes.
he got a touch up from Bridgestone on the track at Breakfast with the Stars the other day, so that didn't impress me either.
Yeah. I don't want to give my opinion on the horse. I think the horse has always been a bit overrated, but he's gone over east and proved me wrong. But over here, I don't think his races have been that strong compared to what his form over there's been, if you know what I mean. I think it's a risk, and I'll be laying him.
So are we tipping one in this race? I think
Waratah's is value,
yeah,
without a doubt. I look in terms of Lucky Grey is probably getting closer to the right price now. He's remarkable. Will be laying. I don't mind Lord's Ransom. West tipped it out on the racing radio the other day. Its runs have been good. Its sectionals have been good. It hasn't been pushed out. If it gets midfield the rail here with a good pace, don't be surprised if it runs a very good race, because it hasn't been tested yet, this horse.
I couldn't really have it. I couldn't really have it at the mile, and Pike and Yule probably could have ridden.
Yes.
Which doesn't give me any confidence either.
I'll give it a sneaky chance. And also, you're not going to agree with this, I don't think Battle Emblem is 150 to 1 shot either, with a good pace on. Doesn't like Ascot, I don't think, but for mine, not impossible. Apart from that, it's hard to find much else, Matt. And I think Mega Steel, even if it did some work and went forward, could have run a cheeky race at odds as well. But yeah, for me,
I'd be tipping Ranger and Waratahs.
Waratah's Ranger, I'm still sticking to ABS, but I'll probably cop that from my counterpart after the race. And Lucky Grey has to be hard to beat. So really the main ones in the market, apart from He's Remarkable, which we don't like.
Yep. Should we go to the Winterbottom?
See, we're very in-depth, aren't we, today?
We are. We've got plenty of time though. 3 races.
The Winterbottom. A very disappointing Winterbottom, apart from the 2 from the east, in my opinion, being Rarefied and Hortensia.
I've got those 2 clearly on top. I watched Hortensia's run the other day. It was phenomenal. She just blew them apart.
Phenomenal. Yes, and very well performed mare, very well weighted, obviously, at weight for age, and will be suited by the race, the pace. Has been here before, has won here before. the day one here, it covered the field. It was third last, I think, on the corner, and it's just covered the field in a couple of strides. And I think it's close to a good thing.
Not sure if it's a good thing. The one I like that is a little bit over the odds still, they better be priced as rarefied. The reason I like it had that first up run in Sydney. Before that I didn't realise it had 18 months off the scene. So first up was an okay run, ran a place at Sydney. They've sent it straight to Melbourne to a group race, so it must have been flying on the track and went down an absolute lip in that race. Pushed up on the inside and got nosed out. The thing I like about rarefied, and Hortensia, not only that, but it's at the front end of its campaign.
Okay.
It's third run in, so it should be peaking for this. Hortensia is the same, second run in.
Yes.
They're not a tack on after the end of a whole carnival and 5 or 6 runs.
Let's send it over there for the hell of it sort of thing.
Yep. So
I like it as well, but I think Hortensia is a different class of horse to win.
I'm thinking these two, I think the winner of the Winterbottom will come out of those two. I'm thinking the Railway will be won by a local. That's my way of thinking.
Okay.
Word will obviously get the front here. He doesn't know any other way than to speed, so there's going to be pace, whichever way you look at it.
I looked at the race originally and thought he would an easy lead, he'll get his own way, he'll be able to do what he wants. I think that's a different story now.
He can't.
I think the Lucy Touch will go forward and apply some pressure.
That is definitely the one that'll go to the breeze.
Yeah.
Guaranteed. Speedy beginner.
Trial without blinkers on tomorrow.
Trial was horrible.
Trial was horrible, yes.
Yeah.
But has a lot of speed and so I don't like Word. I'll give it a player's chance at best. Grand Nirvana has to be a chance. The barrier worries me a little. But you look at Grand Nirvana at Way of Parades and you look at it being the best of our WA horses, and I don't think it's up with Rarefied and Hortensia.
No.
So unfortunately it's hard to see something local figuring. But Grand Nirvana is, in my opinion, the best of the locals. Even though it's drawn barrier 10, it is very well suited at Way for Age. Last year's winner had to be Porker, Matt.
Trialled well. First up run was terrible. It didn't get beat that far, but just never ever got into the race.
Didn't let down, did it?
And you know, this would be a Cinderella story. Glenn Smith had a big claw cut.
That's twice in one day you said that Cinderella story.
Yeah.
Have you been watching the kids' movies?
I don't think Cinderella can get up.
Alright. I am putting a big knock over the whole form out of Avanti's race. It was a weird race. It was a bit of a sprint home. Some horses got held up, clogged up, and I think it's a sort of race you could almost throw a line through the form one. You know what should have won the race is Morant. And my opinion of Morant is the same opinion I have of Ranger. This horse is not best suited ridden on the pace. It's best with a pace on ridden back in the field.
Ridden cold.
And he's got an enormous sprint.
The thing that worries me about Morant is that other Weight for Age run. That was a shocker.
It was a horrible run 2 starts ago.
So it was back down to 53 last start. Yes, should have probably won the race or gone a lot closer. Yeah. Back up to the 58.5. I
don't think the weight worried it. It was $26.
$21 is probably, yeah.
I think it's a bit long. It's for mine. It could be the one out of the locals that runs a better race than people think. If the race is run truly enough for it, if it can settle back with good pace on, I think it's not impossible. But I can't see him beating these two, more particularly Hortensia.
Yeah, I've definitely got Hortensia on top, rarefied a chance of beating it.
And knowing how the bookies over here work, they'll be keen to take on the Eastern States Raiders, they always are. So you'll probably get better prices each of them on the day. Currently rarefied $5.50 and $2.30 Hortensia.
But what you'll find is that part way through the betting you'll get the Eastern States corporates ringing up and knocking off the prices, because obviously their punters over there like to bet. It's
quite bizarre. On course here you'll be good prices, and the rest of Australia betting shorter prices there since those.
So at some stage you'll get good prices about those, but...
There goes there. Any hope for a start for the new camp from over east?
Didn't mind a few of its runs. Its last two were pretty average. Before that okay, but I think you'll find the same again. It's 5th run in. I believe it's over here to be trained for good now as well. Yes, Grant Williams has got it.
Yes. So
and
Grant is a very good trainer. Well performed animal. Keep an eye on it, 2 punters. But throw it in the novelties perhaps. Alright, well that's really we're going for the Eastern States in the...
Hortensia rarefied.
Yeah. Hoping we're going to run a cheeky race.
Cheeky.
And hang on there. There you go, Punta. That's our mini preview for Super Saturday. We'll be back tomorrow with a full preview of the remaining 7 races.
Excellent. Look forward to doing the form on that.
Me too.